Good morning. Welcome back to another live stream. If you are new, my name is Zach. This is Real Deal Futures. Happy Tuesday, traders. Happy April 22nd. Before we jump on the charts, start looking for some trades, scoping out the markets. Make sure you read what's on the screen. Trading's risky. Most traders do lose money. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. I'm just an idiot here on YouTube. Do your own research. Make your own trading decisions. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content like Top 1 Futures and code RDF. Remember, guys, everything here is for entertainment purposes only, not a suggestion or recommendation to do anything. Let's hop on the charts because market is open. We are 2 minutes into NYSE Open. I have my chart marked up here. I have 350K accounts loaded up from Top 1 Futures. These are the straight to funded accounts that I am so jacked up on. You hear me yapping about a whole bunch. I can see already that my 15-minute and 1-minute chart did not sync. So we'll go ahead and play with that in just a minute. Did they sync? Yeah, we got pretty close there. What's going on, chat? What's happening? Good morning, good morning. Stream looks good. Looks like you guys can hear me. Good morning, Coop, Ruben, HW, Keith, Wolf, John. What is going on, guys? Appreciate you hopping on here with me. We got this thing growing every damn day. Yesterday was actually the most people I think that I've ever had on a live session. It's pretty sweet. So had all you guys smash and like and subscribe. Obviously, everybody likes giveaways. We're going to keep those rolling this week. Like I said, random days, random times. You got to be on here to catch it. Yeah, don't need to have the volume profile up. But let's scroll out to the daily. Just wanted to make sure these charts were ready to go as we're opening up above VWAP here, pulling up. Let's hop out to the daily real quick, get some top-down analysis, just get a feel for the markets on this beautiful Tuesday. Went no trade yesterday, right? Watched the market sell off really all day. I went no trade on the live session. I did catch a long that just ended at break even in these accounts yesterday. Not that I like to yap too much about the trading I do outside of the live because it ain't really worth a damn. But we'll see what we get today, right? I talked about it a lot yesterday. If you go back and look, somebody obviously commented, oh, you missed the sell-off. And, you know, I talked a lot about that, right? No trade, no setup. That's going to be different for everybody. I think maturing as a trader is being able to watch the markets and say, hey, you know what? It's moving, but I don't have my setup. So in any event, looking at this daily chart, man, we're at an interesting spot. We've been at an interesting spot, right? Sold off super aggressively, right? If I zoom out, we know what happened over the last couple months. Coming into the towards the end of April here, we've bottomed out the beginning of this month after some gnarly selling pressure on tariff news, Trump, China, you know, all the crazy geopolitical stuff we had going on. Big bullish candle right here. Massive push to the upside. Some indecision. Pull back down. Retest of this high like we were looking at last week's volume profile right here. Prior week value area high, volume point of control, and value area low from last week's volume profile. We're below all that. We've failed to get above this high. Sold off here yesterday was a pretty nice move to the downside and then somewhat of a recovery overnight. And now we've got a bullish bar forming inside, failure to get below the low or the high of prior day so far. So as we hop down onto the lower time frames, and again, I like to just do some top-down analysis, right? Get a feel for the daily, just where we're at. Do I really utilize that in my trading? Do I wait for something to happen on the daily? No, but it gives me some reference, kind of where we're at once I zoom all the way in to the 1-minute chart, right? I just kind of get a feel for what's going on in the higher time frames. I can bring a little bit of that information with me, right? Are we ripping everybody's face off to the upside? Maybe I want to be cautious selling a small pullback in the uptrend, right? Conversely, if we're selling off, you know, maybe I want to be a little cautious slamming the buy button. So looking at the 15-minute chart, you know, reviewing yesterday, we really sold off right from the open. You can see majority of the volume was traded down here. This is prior day's volume point of control coming off of a volume profile that I have removed here so I could actually just look at price action and market structure. We have recovered right into the end of the day. I was getting long looking at this moving to the upside, but just really didn't get to capitalize on it. Back to VWAP towards the end of the day, and then overnight session through Asia, through London. We've drifted to the upside, held above VWAP, right? That volume weighted average price. Now, we've got our overnight high here, but still, you know, relative to yesterday's high and low, we're pretty much dead set in the middle, right? Our value, or excuse me, our profile is really set down here, although this is the start of regular trading hours up here. As far as the daily candle, here's our yesterday's candle high, yesterday candle's low. We're dead set in the middle of that. You know, we are looking bullish overnight and through pre-market, through London, which is important to take into consideration. We're opening up above VWAP, headed back towards that overnight high right here up at the 5250s. So bullish so far. This one could be a little bit dicey. I don't have a really strong indication one way or the other. Yesterday, I had a pretty decent, you know, bearish bias. I just didn't have a way to capitalize on it based on the structure that formed. You know, fine. Coming into the session today, I could see it going either way or chopping. I really could. I could see this, you know, turning into another day like yesterday. If we really start to turn to the downside, start coming back through VWAP, I could see the aggressive push lower. We really came right back up and tested these lows, tested this area of volume. Do we need to return all the way up to yesterday's high, close to prior week's value area low? This would be the next area that I'd be looking at, right? I've really been liking the 15-minute chart, and my volume profile on the 15-minute chart gives me very, very strong areas to pay attention to. So, you know, we're at the bottom of all of this, you know, where our overnight high level is, right around that 5250, 5255. If we continue this move to the upside, I could see us easily approaching the 320s, 330s, you know, right around this middle area. You can see where it was tested as highs and lows, support, resistance, order block, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to call it an area of interest on my chart because I like to describe things in a really stupidly simple way. Conversely, we start to sell off from up here and come back down through VWAP. I think it's very likely for us to approach yesterday's, you know, value area high, kind of that close of regular trading session hours, down towards that overnight low where we opened up and then sold off before this push up. So a little bit of a decision point on the chart. I'm not going to be too quick to jump in, right? I typically am not, but I could see some smaller movement to the upside or downside, trying to capitalize on a move up towards the 320s. Oh, that was a reset. Up towards the 320s or down towards overnight low if we start to move quickly through VWAP. So fairly unbiased into this open. Now I will drop down onto my trading setup here. My trading chart layout, I should say, which is the 15-minute and the 1-minute side by side. If you guys have questions, anything on my chart that you want to know about, any of the tools I use, any of that fun stuff, please feel free to ask. I'm happy to yap about it. I do get locked in once I'm actually scoping out a trade and looking for it, but I'm happy to answer questions on my charts, on these prop accounts that I'm trading, anything trading related. I ignore the dumbass troll comments or questions because that's just not helpful for anybody, right? Not helpful for me, not helpful for you, not helpful for the troll. Yeah, so a little bit of chop right here, man. Interested to see. Do we start breaking to the upside? This could look like a bullish run. A retest of this VWAP, you know, down around this area right here. If we're looking on the 15-minute, down around this area right here before a continuation of the upside. I could see that looking pretty nice for longs. I don't have a lot of room to work as far as what I'm looking to capitalize on, right? If this would be targets to the downside and this would be targets to the upside, maybe up to the 320s, it's not a ton of room to wait for structure to form up here and get a clean invalidation point. But I'm not going to jump right in. I like to give it at least the first 15 minutes. My data shows that I just really, it just doesn't help me to trade within the first 15 minutes. I lose far more often than I win relative to the rest of my trading. It's just a volatile time. I usually can't get a clean invalidation level, so I prefer to wait. So approaching overnight high, taking a look at Bookmap, my favorite order flow tool. We had some on the book up above, which is still there. Yeah, we got some up to the 5,300 level, man. I think we break to the upside on this. If I had to take it, I really wouldn't want to stop right here, which is why I'm not. If I had to take it from the 15, you could definitely run something wide off the open. You know, just giving you an idea. Again, I'm looking over here on the left-hand side of the 15-minute chart. You could run something really wide off the open, you know, allowing price to come all the way back down to VWAP and still have a nice positive risk to reward to the upside. I wouldn't run it like that. I think it's just too tight as we're moving to the upside right now. I think it's just too tight to have a stop right here. I don't think it's a clean invalidation point. I'd still want to be long above VWAP, so I wouldn't want to be out there. But if you wanted to hop into something right here, right now, unless you're short biased based off of this week's price action, yesterday's price action, this would be a decent move to the upside. You could be targeting some liquidity up here, targeting yesterday's high. Gun to my head, that's the trade that I'm putting on. Taking a look at Bookmap before I hop over and chat with you guys. Taking a look at Bookmap, my favorite order flow tool, level 2 data, displayed by way of a heat map. Looks crazy, very simple. I use this in a stupidly simple way, the same way I use all my tools. Here's what I'm looking at, right? Most prominent level to the upside, or anywhere really, is going to be that 5,300. Very obvious round psychological number, right near yesterday's high, right near prior week value area low, I believe, up near that 320s area above. So I could see us wanting to move to the upside. We've also had orders stacking up above, and we've continued through them, right? Kind of like yesterday where we continued down through them. Here we go. Volume traded. We're coming up into these sell orders. Buyers are overpowering the sellers, right? Positive cumulative volume delta, if you wanted to get into the narrative behind it. But I like to just look at pattern recognition and say, yeah, we're pushing the upside. We seem to be eating up all the sell orders and continuing that direction. Maybe I want to look long. I don't know. That's the way that I like to approach things. I used to try to make it so complicated, and it sounds smarter than I am, and it just doesn't help. I'm here to make money, not sound smart. And keeping things stupidly simple helps me do that. So 5,300 would be targets to the upside. I'm gonna wait some kind of pullback. I didn't get it at all yesterday, man. We'll see if we're just gonna be starting this break and run move out of ES here. Interested to see what happens up here at the 5260s as we start to crack overnight high. But this looks bullish, looks strong. Bullish through pre-market, through Asia, through London. Recovery at the end of the day. This could be flipping. Not flipping. This could be forming a pretty strong bullish candle here today. Again, gun to my head, I'm looking long on this, but I'd like it after a pullback, man. I don't think this is a clean invalidation spot. I do not think the 230s are a clean invalidation spot. It would have to be way down here past VWAP for me. And that's pretty wide to take this breakout to the upside. I would be setting myself up for a long hold right off the open. I'd prefer to wait, maybe get some kind of a pullback and then continuation, and then I would have a cleaner invalidation point right here. But we'll see. Your option number 2 is what I'm talking about right here. This not what I'm calling not a clean invalidation point. Maybe that pays you a 1-to-1, breaking out to the upside, following trend, structure, volume, order flow. Everything is aligning in that direction. Again, what keeps me out of these right off the open, just so much volatility. Looking at my data personally, I just find a lot of these end up as quick stop outs before it moves in my direction. So I prefer to wait, but I'll always map that stuff out, right? That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at. So now that we got through the morning yap session, what's going on, chat? Raja, Nove, Kim, Ruben, Wolf again. Wolf 1,000 times. What's up, Wolf? Jess. Ryan, what's up? Adil, King, what's going on? What's going on, guys? What's going on? So let me read through some of this. Hey, Zach, before the charts, you already missed that boat. Tell me if you're doing a giveaway today. Then I think we'll talk whether or not I'll still be here. Listen, like I talked about, part of that giveaway, guys, random times, random days. You're not going to know ahead of time. Everybody's going to ask in the chat 47 times, and I'm not going to tell you. That's the fun of supporting the guys that are on, guys and girls, right? Because I don't want to isolate anybody. What's up, Kim and Jess? Or anybody else. But, yeah, I'm not going to tell you ahead of time. It's going to be random on here. What the giveaway is going to be, when it is, you got to be on here to grab it. You don't want to hang out on here, totally cool. I'm going to do some stuff from Discord. I'm going to do some stuff in Twitter. But these ones are going to be specific to people on for the live sessions. Any tips for managing 150K straight to funded with top 1 futures, like in terms of how many contracts or how much risk per trade? Raja, that is going to be specific to you. As we watch this market push to the upside, man, I'm going to answer that question, but are we going to watch a breakout again? 9:46 a.m. breaking out to the upside. We don't really have red folder news. We got some orange folder at 10. Man, this looks strong. I'm looking for a buy, guys, but again, we got a little bit of consolidation, like no pullback anywhere near VWAP and an immediate pop. So congrats if you longed the open. Again, this is not it for me yet. I really don't want to be sitting here watching the market again today, and I'm not intending to. Only a few minutes into this session, so let's see what we get. But these knifes off the open can be tough, man. Unless you're comfortable just buying into momentum, throwing a stop arbitrarily somewhere on there, can be a little bit tough. So anyway, looking strong to the upside. I want to keep, market commentary going on here. Had a little bit of feedback that I do want to be talking about the markets. So watching this to the upside, this still looks good. Liquidity up above. I'm looking for a pullback. I'd be looking to buy a dip on this. Again, we do have orange folder news. I'll take a look at that at 10 a.m. So it's coming up in about 15 minutes. I'd want to see some pullback. I'd love now, after this move to the upside, a pullback down to the 230s, mid 230s below this open, and then a crack back to the upside. I'd definitely be in long to ride that towards yesterday's high. Conversely, we ripped through VWAP. I'm looking short. But so far, this looks very strong. A big recovery after yesterday from the overnight session, continuing right into the open. Buyers look like they want to drift this thing higher. Now, we could chop. Still could just be a choppy day. But I'm looking to trade this somewhat directionally based on this continuing. So we'll see. We'll see what we get. So, yeah, so managing the 150K account, here's what I would recommend. First off, it's individual to yourself and your trade and your risk tolerance, right? So here's the first initial questions that I'd ask myself. What do I want my risk per day to be, right? If I have $6,000 of max loss limit in this account, which I do here, copy trading 3 of them right now, but in the straight to funded, you have $6,000 worth of max loss limit. That's your working capital. Forget the 150K or anything else. How much do you want to be able to lose per day, right? What is your downside limit? And that will tell you how long you stand to keep the account. You might want to utilize your win rate and average risk to reward, as well as average number of trades per day to get an idea of that, right? Like if you run a real low win rate, real high risk to reward system, you probably got to give yourself a lot more room to work because you're going to deal with a lot more natural losing streaks and, just equity downturns before you get to the big strings of wins, or not big strings of wins, but just big wins, right? Maybe you're more in the middle ground. You can stand to have a little bit more risk on per trade per day because you're not going to withstand so many, massive losing streaks. But start with those numbers, right? So maybe you say, I don't want to lose this account, right? I want to hold on to it. $500 risk per day. Great. You set your personal daily loss limit to liquidate on Project X, which you can do. If you struggle with tilt or anything like that, you're just not, at a spot where you're comfortable cutting yourself off. There's really no excuse not to set that. And then from there, you have your personal daily loss limit. What is your risk per trade? Well, how many trades do you want to give yourself per day? 1, 2, 10? Divide that number by the number of trades per day, and that's your risk per trade. But again, what these numbers are going to be personal, right? You might have guys that say, yeah, man, I'm looking to put this thing, to $10,000 profit quickly. I have anytime payouts. I'm aiming for $2,000 a day. I'm going to take on, $3,000 risk per day. I'll lose the account in 2 days if I go on a losing streak. Most guys probably not going to be that aggressive, but maybe they're way on the other end. They say, I want to hold on to this account. I want to trade this for a long period of time. There's no time limit. I have no pressure here. Great. I'm only going to risk $300 per day. I'm going to give myself a ton of losing days before I get close to digging a hole or blowing the account. That's, going to be specific to the individual and their metrics. Again, look at your personal daily loss limit. That is a non-negotiable that everybody should have set. Then look at your risk per trade based on how many trades you want to give yourself per day. Someone like me, personally, I'm only taking 1-2 trades per day, on average. Sometimes I'll get a little aggressive, and I adjust my risk per trade based on how much I want to risk per day, right? The $1,000, $2,000 level risk is on kind of the high end for me for the day. So that means, for example, if I want to only lose $1,000 per day and I want to give myself 2 trades, that's $500 per trade. If I want to give myself 1 trade, $1,000, if it's a $1,000 daily loss limit. If it's $2,000, maybe it's $1,000 risk per trade, 2 trades, or $2,000 on 1 trade. That's basics of risk management. For me, and what is different for everybody, Up to the individual. What I'll say is most guys are way too aggressive. Most guys are running way too much risk per trade. They don't accept it on the front end, and they're unhappy when they lose their account in a week, right? If you're risking $1,000 per day, you got to accept on the front end, and you should write it down on a piece of paper. I'm totally okay losing this account in 6 days because I know the market's very random on the short term, and although I have confidence in my approach and my system, and I should not withstand a losing streak like that, outliers happen. It'd be very uncommon, but that's the risk that I'm putting on. I accept that on the front end. So whatever that is, always go to the worst case scenario, accept that, so you could trade more risk-free, right? If you think about it, reflect on that, accept the worst case scenario playing out, you can trade objectively on the chart. You're not worried. You're not feeling the P&L nearly as much. So that's my 2 cents on this. I think that was a great question. Morning, Nove. Morning, Kim. We'll still hurting from yesterday. Okay, so again, we talked about position sizing as we're watching this market pull back down to overnight high. 8 minutes to orange folder news. I'm probably going to wait this out, guys. Position sizing should be according to your risk, right? I trade different, I trade micros primarily just because it gives me more flexibility. I don't have to trade minis. If I want to put on 50 micros, I can, right? It's fine. If you want to trade minis, go for it. But it should just be whatever your risk per trade is, right? If I say, hey, I want to risk $1,000 per trade, which is what I might put on here today, I'm going to adjust my position size based on my stop loss. Volatility is different every day. Running a fixed contract size, in my humble opinion, doesn't make sense. There's no need to do that. You should have an average, right? I know where I usually am starting at, but use a measurement tool, right? Drag it out, see where your stop loss is going to go, right? And then do the simple math calculation. I try to get better at it myself. It's pretty easy in the futures market with micros. You can just continue to add on until you're comfortable. But adjust for volatility. Extremely important. Advanced traders do this. It's a qualification for being a trader. You should understand what volatility is, how it changes every day, and adjust your position size for it. There's no reason to run a fixed contract size. It's just not needed. Run a fixed risk per trade, right? That makes more sense. And then adjust for that volatility. Size down, size up accordingly. Yeah, full port that. Twin candles on the 5-minute chart. I'll have to look at that, Jess. You're rich anyway, bro. Morning champions. You guys are chatting it up today. Try to run through this. Come on, Zach. You're smart. Your explanations, too. Crazy drop yesterday. Crazy recovery into last night and this morning. Yeah. Zen, what's up? See you guys questions. Ruben called me out on my BS. I'm still here yapping. Can't resist it. Yeah, you could yap here. It's okay. As long as it's good intent, right? Gotcha. ICT. We were looking at that in Discord. That was funny. What did FOMC members? No idea what they're talking about. I know we do have a lot of speakers. This is forexfactory.com. I run this, just on the side, taking a look. We have this Richmond Manufacturing Index. This is the orange folder news for the day. Not major, coming up in 5 minutes, but we do have FOMC speakers yapping today. None of them are our boy Jerome Powell, but this is, reason to exercise a little bit of caution. You'll have to tell me, Ryan. You're my news, my squawk alert for news. Yeah, we're talking VCT. I don't know. I drove the van that nabbed him, Coop. That's very funny. Oh, man. That's very, very, very funny. If you use TradingView, you can set the position tool to whatever your risk is. Yes, you can. If you're trading on TradingView with Tradeovate, you can use it that way. If you're here on Project X, I would recommend you do, one thing, which would be use a measurement tool, right? So come over here to the left-hand side, click this tool right here that says Measure. You can also use your finger and click the Shift tool and drag out from whatever point you want on the chart this measurement tool. And what this is giving you here is a distance in points and ticks. It also gives you a percent, which we really don't care about. To the right or left-hand side, it actually measures bars and time in minutes. What I look at when I do this is really ticks because it's just easy to do the calculation, right? So let's say, for example, I want to get long on this. And you could do this 47 different ways. You could use actually the fixed measurement tool. You could use just a position tool, right? That's an easy way to do it. Just showing you my preference. You could use an ATR, right? Measure volatility. For me, maybe I say I want to get long right here, right? And I want my stop loss to be at VWAP. Well, That tells me I got 100 ticks of risk that I'm about to put on. When I hit enter right here, and my stop loss is going to go here, I have 100 ticks of risk. I know the contract value of 1 micro ES here is $1.25. Every one, right? So every one contract I put on, $1.25 times 100, that's easy math, even for me. I usually get a calculator out, is going to be $125, right? Let's say I want to put on, close to $400 worth of risk. Maybe I throw 3 micros on there. It's going to be about $375 worth of risk. Okay? That's how you would measure out. Your risk and adjust accordingly. There's 47 different ways, more than 47, that you could do that. But what I recommend doing is getting comfortable with a measurement tool or an ATR, an average true range, to understand volatility. Understand volatility for the day that you're starting to trade on. And that will give you an indication right off the rip if you want to size down or size up. It's something that I see good traders do, and I try to be good at it myself, is adjusting for volatility. Size up or size down. If we're moving very slowly, low volume, low volatility, maybe you're able to size up. If we're ripping everybody's face off like we have been, high volatility, your normal contract size is not going to work. You're going to be sized way too heavy. Your stop loss is going to be way too tight if you keep risk consistent, and you're just going to get, you're not trading the same, right? So the really nice adjustable that we have is contract size, right? We're in control of that. We're not in control of a lot of things here in this market. You're in control of your risk, 110%. You get to set where your stop loss goes and what dollar amount of risk you have on, as well as your take profit and how you manage that trade. Focus on that. Focus on that. You're not in control of what the market's going to do next. You'll never be, not me or anybody else. Let go of that. Focus on structuring your risk well. As we're watching the market, this is pretty clean. Break and retest of overnight high, man. I'm not taking it. We have less than 2 minutes away from this orange folder. I don't expect it to be really big, but I'm not going to hop in right before that. I'm going to let this market continue to open up. A long from up here isn't a bad play. If we're really going to continue this move to the upside, this looks pretty strong. I'm not using anchored VWAPs very much these days, but that's pretty damn close, staying above NYSE session anchored VWAP. But I really like this to the upside, looking at Bookmap as well. Yeah, I'm going to hang on this for now, though, guys. We're going to watch liquidity dry up on the book. Ooh, we got quite a bit at 250. Quite a bit right here at 250, about 840 on the book. So, got about a minute until this orange folder news. We'll see if we get a pop or a quick wick back down, or if it's a whole bunch of nothing coming into 10 a.m. We'll see if we can't get some direction out of this. But so far, breaking and retesting on the 1 minute, this doesn't look bad. Something like a simple long from right here wouldn't be terrible. Like I talked about, getting long somewhere in here with a stop loss way down here, way down below here for a move to the upside. Still looking pretty valid. Continuing up towards highs again. So we'll see. About 30 seconds to medium impact orange folder news. But if you're on here, man, I appreciate you. Smash like, smash subscribe. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. Coming up to test these highs. Yeah, nothing. Really nothing on this 10 a.m. news. A whole lot of nothing. Yeah, a whole lot of nothing. Okay. So, nothing burger out of this orange folder news. Data came in. Richmond Manufacturing Index. Market really does not care at all about that. So we're just going to continue on. Let's watch if we get some continuation to the upside here. This is looking good for a long. It would be pretty high in this range to take it to the upside. I might have to try this. It's not something that I'm going to put heavy risk on. But if we are going to continue to the upside here, I think we do it now. I'll tell you what I really don't like that came on the book. Big stack of orders up here at 250, and the 5,300 lightened up. We got 130 up there. but we got a big stack down at 250. Don't know that I want to get long against that. Yeah, I think if we go, man, we're headed to prior day. We're headed to prior day high and above. We're headed to 53 30s. Breakout to the upside's not a bad play. It's valid for me. It's okay, but the no real nice pullback off the open before the move up is just not really not giving me the warm fuzzy feeling on this one. Stop way down here wouldn't be terrible. You know, for a sweep down below this and a movement all the way up to 5,300. I think that's what I'm going to run, guys. I'm eyeballing along from up here for a breakout to the upside, but I'm looking at running it really wide. I'm looking at running it really wide with a stop way down here. I don't love this for a breakout to the upside with a stop just below this 15-minute bar. We come back down into this range. I think we really could turn this into a retest of VWAP, but really next area of high volume is way up there and looks like we want to go grab it. 5250 is way too prominent to put a stop right here, though. I think that would be really silly. I'm eyeballing this long now that we're through news, guys, but I'm just trying to figure out how I want to structure this one. Again, it's kind of where does the stop need to go, and then where does the take profit need to go? And I got two options here: run it tight or run it wide. And I don't know that I want to run this one tight. I think we can easily pull back down to this level. We got a lot of liquidity right here. It would be a nice sweep below this low before continuation to the upside. We don't always get that at a ES. It trends a lot tighter. This is a nice clean pullback to overnight high and then a continuation to the upside. I'd be looking for a larger move out of this one without a really, really big pullback here, but I think that's the way that we're headed right now. And I definitely think we're going to grab the 270. Yeah, I'm going to wait on this one, guys. I'm not going to take it. This is a decent long setup, though. This is a decent long, just continuing nice structure to the upside, holding above VWAP, holding above overnight high. My reason for staying out of it, we got a huge stack of liquidity down here. Way, way big. 822 orders sitting on the book at 5,250. I don't know that we leave that here before we just rip to the upside for the rest of the day. I'd be looking at a large movement with a stop down here. So I'm not going to take this. I'm not going to take this long. If I miss another move that starts right off the open and continues, I have to accept that. So I'm just going to watch how this starts to develop on Bookmap. Ooh, 5250 off the book. That is pulled off the book just as quick as I was saying it. Do we break to the upside now? Wow. And chat, I see you guys chatting. Bear with me here. I'm eyeballing along. Again, I do like to actually focus when I'm trying to trade. I'm staring at Bookmap here over to the right-hand side. That 5250 is off the book. Orders are able to come on and off the book as real orders. If they're spoofing, you can do whatever you want to do. Obviously, right, with a real account. Did they get moved anywhere? No. I'm gonna wait on this. Although those are off the book, and that's better for my long here. I like this for a wide long. I really do. VWAP is just not in a great spot for me. Yeah, I'm waiting on this one, guys. Got an opportunity to try it here. We got bullish bar after bullish bar in the 15-minute. Decent break and retest. If we do continue the upside, we may hit to prior day high quickly. There we go. Got a little bit of volume to the upside. Do we blast off here, or are we actually going to pull back and retest? Yeah, I'm waiting on these. Maybe I'm being too patient off the open, but I'm waiting on these. I'm just not liking the structure that's forming, and I have to stick to my guns, man. It's tough to do on days like this when the market is moving, but I have to stick to, you know, some form of consistency. And any kind of a pullback in pre-market or right off the open towards VWAP, a sweep below a low, gives me a real clean invalidation level and something that I'm comfortable holding a trade on for a long period of time. We haven't gotten that today. Again, we've really just pushed off the open with consecutive bullish bars on the 15-minute. Small pullback on the 1-minute towards overnight high. This is clean. But I am eyeballing this this on Bookmap. But let's see where we're at. I drove the van that nabbed him. Oh, yeah, that was funny. It's ICT here. Yeah, thanks for that. Just here for Wolf Ruben banter. Appreciate you guys. Full port, boys. Scare the market. Yeah, full port it, guys. Scare the market. Don't do that. Zach's not reading my comments. He's ignoring the VCT. Don't do a giveaway. I have a meeting. Yeah, you're good for now. Sitting in AirPod. Supplier meeting. Chill sec. Hoarding accounts. She's ready for summer. I'm just waiting for this market to remove some buyers who bought this pullback. If not, no trade for me. A couple of yeah, no, again, I'm no trade on this again. No trade on this. Pushing the upside. Just not a setup for me. Not the clean invalidation point that I look for on these movements off the open. I wait for some pullback, some clean invalidation level. This is just really strong, and you could find your way in multiple times. Like we said, I eyeballed multiple longs with you guys right off the open. Those all would be paying so far. We're continuing this push to the upside. I'm not taking it. Again, I'm watching this now move to the upside after watching yesterday sell. But I have to be patient and just watch the market move if I don't have a setup. We still have some movement to the upside. Not a whole lot of liquidity now. So I could see this starting to drift, but just got a slow grind to the upside now. Ever since Trump's Treasury team has taken control of this market, these big sudden moves have been tough to trade. Yeah, absolutely. NQ, we got a target from Bob. NQ 18280. Okay. Nice. Yeah, gonna watch this thing do what it's gonna do, man. Didn't get the pullback that I wanted. Watched it move to the upside. We'll see. We'll see what we get out of this bad boy. Yesterday they nuked every long holder, dry holder. Today it's squeezing every short holder. Yeah, man, this is interesting movement, man. Yesterday they did. Ryan, that's all she wrote. Yeah, I'll see you, man. I'll see you. Yeah, this is interesting. Interesting, man. Back and forth, right? Yesterday took everybody out that was maybe trying to get long on this pullback, looking from a higher time frame perspective, with this movement, and then an immediate recovery, not just a retest of this level and then a continuation, like an immediate recovery starting late in the afternoon, all the way back off this low by 150 points here in ES. Everybody that was getting short on any kind of pullback here is getting squeezed on this. Again, this would be target to the upside around this 53.30. Maybe we go get it, but yeah, this can be tough, especially if you're swinging something in this market. This can be pretty tough. A lot of volatility. But this is bullish off the open, bullish overnight. Wild markets, man. Wild markets. This hasn't been as bad as it has been. We haven't seen that insane, just rapid news wick. We saw a lot of it. Saw a lot of it towards the end of last week, but haven't seen too much of it yesterday coming into today, right? Where we just get an insane movement to the upside or downside, right? Bro, does the market reward you for following your process? Yes, it does. Yes, it does, my friend. And it punishes me for not following my process. I'll give you a good example if you want to go back and watch a live session. I'll use myself as an example. About 2 Fridays ago, it wasn't last Friday, yeah, about 2 Fridays ago, I got involved really aggressively off the open. I took 2 back-to-back shorts, and it was the quickest I took 2 back-to-back L's right off the open. Went down immediately $3,000 because it was across all 3 of these accounts. It was one of those days I did make it all back off stream, which I hate to say, but who the hell cares, right? It's all about what I'm doing here with you guys or anywhere else live where you can go back and watch it. But that was bordering not following my process of waiting. The setup was there. The setup was good. But like on a day like yesterday or today, I started getting involved really aggressively, right? It would be like me buying right here. I think it was in the first 7 minutes. Pretty aggressively with a tight stop on the 1 minute, like right here. And what happened? We wicked me out twice and then moved in the direction of my trade. So, you know, I've been there and done it too many times. If you want to watch an example of it happening, I know it's fun to watch guys trade, to smash buttons, you know, and take wins or losses. I try not to do that on accounts that I'm actually working towards payouts on. So yeah, the answer to that question is yeah, market rewards me for following my process. It's sometimes not fun to do. You know, I talked about it yesterday and even today, right? Like the pain of missing movement when your setup's not there starts to dissipate. If you take enough setups where you're trying to catch the movement, but your setup's really not there and you blow accounts, right? If you take it quickly and get reinforced with a bad behavior, you know, if that's not your setup, it's even worse. But if you want an example of that, check out my day, I think from 2 weeks ago, my live stay up, and you can watch me take 2 very quick back-to-back losses on across 3 accounts where the market ended up moving in my direction, but I was just not waiting for the pullback that I needed, not really waiting for the time, the first 15 to 30 minutes. But that happens, right? Not the best trader in the world. I don't claim to be. I make mistakes. You know, that day I probably was carrying too strong of a bias. But again, that happens enough times and you go, all right, my data is showing me what to do and what not to do. That means sometimes I got to just sit and watch the market, right? If you try to catch every move with no structure or no, you know, just to hop in and not miss a move to the upside or downside, you know, I wish you luck, but, you know, I don't think it's going to work out too well. But I get a comment on every one of the videos where the market moves and I'm not in a trade in that direction, obviously. And it usually comes from somebody with, you know, not a lot of experience, right? Or else you would recognize your job isn't to capture every movement in the market, right? The market's going to be moving up or down all day. If you think you're going to have to be in or find a way into every market movement, you're in for a rude awakening. Most guys start out that way. But you go enough times of doing that, of not following your process, because you get FOMO, you get anxious, you want to get into whatever it is, and the market punishes you when you don't do it and rewards you for being patient and following. So, and that's different for everybody, right? Different for everybody. Scalping, higher time frame, day trading, swing trading, whatever that is for you. Took that long right before a meeting, hit 1.5 TP. Wish I could have paid more attention to it and let it run a bit more. Oh well, win's a win. Win's a win. Win's a win. Take profit, get in, get out, get paid. Yeah, I'm watching this pullback to the downside, Ryan. I see the comment. This isn't bad. Sweep below these levels. I'm looking long on this. I'm still long bias above VWAP. This looks really, really good. I'm watching Bookmap. I'd love for us to come down here, take some people out, and then show some buyers. I'm in long on it. I am in long on that type of movement. This right here isn't bad. Is not bad. Below prior bar low on the 15-minute chart. I like it. That's my game plan here. Yeah, not a lot on the book above or below price whatsoever. Not getting a lot of help out of Bookmap today. 5,300, we still have 183. I don't mind it all the way up to that level of liquidity. Yeah, nice strong cumulative volume delta. Just don't look bad. Again, I've really been liking the 15-minute for these higher time frame, not higher time frame plays, but for these wider trades that I've been taking, holding on to this. Yeah, let's see if we can get a return to this level. Again, waiting for the pullback that I need, man. This isn't bad. Nice extension. 15 points. Just looking at some measured movements. Yeah, but I'm gonna look to buy this aggressively as we're starting to pull back. Yeah, I'm gonna run. I think I'm gonna run a wide one on this, guys. That's my game plan. I'm getting long on this bad boy. I'm gonna get rid of that. Get rid of that take profit up there. That's way long. Had some risk brackets in here. Let's go ahead and size up on this. That would be stupid wide. Let's just take a look here. Hang on. That'd be stupid wide for a one-to-one type move. I'm going to scale up on this, but I think I'm going to run it really wide, guys. Really wide. I'm adding in right here. That's about $1,000 worth of risk to get back down through VWAP. This is going to be my game plan on this. I'll tell you why. Really wide stop, right? Relative to what I'm usually putting on, 40 points of risk, 160 ticks. I think we could easily pull back down to this level. I do want to get a trade on here with you guys, kind of show you how I'm structuring this. Why would I run it this wide? I have a target in mind. It's coming off of my 15-minute chart. And if I have a target way up here, if my volume profile will reset. Oh, that's too wide. If I have a target way up here, I want to give it room. I want to give it... Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to give it room to retest this overnight high. Maybe retest VWAP, sweep down below session lows, like give it a lot of room to work out. But this is something I'm going to hold on to all day. I'm going to take a full stop of $1,000 on this, or we're going to run all the way up towards the 320s, 330s, crack yesterday's high, turn this into a nice bullish day. Even on the daily chart, we can take a look at what this would look like. We got a hell of a bullish candle forming here, right? I want to see this run all the way up here. And if we get that, I'm looking at some nice profit, right? Crack above overnight high. puts me well into profit. And honestly, with the consistency rule, I don't know that I want to realize, I don't know that I really want to realize, much more than that, because I'd be setting myself up to make a lot of profit. So this is a wider play for sure. I am basing this off of the 15-minute chart, although I am taking the 1-minute chart into consideration. Waited a while on this. Obviously, entry down here would have given me, 20 points less of risk, or 15 points less of risk, retesting overnight high, maybe a much wider stop loss, but this is a pretty clean invalidation level, right? If we have to come all the way back down through this level, can we wick down here really aggressively? Sure. We absolutely can before continuing the upside. We didn't get it all day. I waited for it. Now we're coming into the 10-20 time frame. Unless we get that 11 a.m., 11:30 a.m. reversal where we really just start to sell off aggressively, this looks good. I like it to the upside. So that's my... Whoa. Got a light falling. Hang on. That's my trade. All right, we're good. That's my trade. Long from 52.71 and 3/4. Wide stop, guys. This is not a scalp. 52.31 and 3/4. I'm looking for a larger movement today, flowing with the strong bullish trend that we have. I've stayed patient off the open, didn't just jump right into some fake out. We are coming out of this area of high volume, right? We're coming out of really all of yesterday's profile way down here, overnight high. This is the next area that I'd be looking for. Now, I'm asking for a larger move out of the market, so I'm running a much wider stop loss. But that's my play. That's my game plan. We could really watch this one on the 15-minute. The 1-minute, it's not really going to matter that much. I'm going to be okay with it pulling back, moving around, doing whatever it's doing. And I've also found a lot better data, a lot better results in these markets more recently, without over-optimizing, widening out. We get so much volatility, so many quick movements. The 1-minute chart, I think on ES, on NQ, on gold, any US indice has been difficult to work with. Really difficult to work with. You're just very zoomed in. Now, that's subjective, totally up to the individual. I'm generalizing there. Some guys might say, "No, Zach, I'm killing it in this volatility. I just buy and sell breakouts. I do my thing." So, anyway, that's my play. Long, it's probably going to run longer than the live session unless we blast off or absolutely rip my face off. Again, answering the question, talking about, structuring risk and how I handle it in these accounts. Remember, whatever risk you put on, if you can leave with nothing else on a day like today, whatever risk you put on, accept that on the front end, right? Trump could sneeze or someone says tariff, and I'm out 998.75 at least, plus whatever fees and commissions and spreads maybe that I get slipped in the blink of an eye, right? If you're not comfortable with that, reduce that position size, right? Size down, move your stop loss up, do something different, because that will happen. And when it does happen, if you're not comfortable with it, you're not accepting it, you're probably going to go on tilt. You're probably going to ruin your whole day, continuing to trade or just be pissed off. So recognize that on the front end. This is a little bit heavier as far as risk per trade because I'm not going to get a second one, right? I'm making this one real wide because it's either going to play out nicely or play out against me. This is a wide trade. It's going to take a long time to play out. So I'm giving myself probably one trade, at least with you guys on here. That's the game plan. So that's my play for today. Waited off the open patiently like I did yesterday. Again, if you want to see what getting involved really aggressively oftentimes looks like for me, go back to, and I always don't mind pointing out losses. Go back a couple live sessions to, I think it was 2 Fridays ago, and you'll watch me get smoked off the open getting short. And even worse than getting smoked off the open, the market dumps after I get smoked, right? I take a very, very similar trade twice on the 1-minute chart, stopped out, down $1,000 in, the first couple minutes of the session, and then the market dumps, right? So there's a reason I stay patient. Does it work for me all the time? No. Yesterday and today, buying or selling on the first 5-minute bar, you would have got paid. I encourage you to backtest that. And decide if that's how you want to trade often. So that's my play. Kim's long again. Bob, so far still an inside day. Needs to push this hour. Yes, I agree, right? We're still an inside day. Looking at the daily candle, we are still, good point, Bob. Got great comments in the live, man. You guys are awesome. Really good questions today. Really good comments. But yeah, still an inside day, right? We are still inside bar here. Could this absolutely just turn on a dime and flip short? Sure. Can we pull back, you know, and really kind of extend this wick before continuing the upside? Absolutely. But extending to the upside and even just sweeping a high, I don't think is insane. We got a nice movement really starting from low in this daily candle. So I do like it, but we need to see this extend, right? We do need to see this extend. And, you know, oftentimes what you find with, you know, inside bars off the open, this is just subjective, right? You know, small indecision inside bars off the open, they kind of stay that way, right? They extend wicks to the upside and downside. And what that looks like on lower time frames is just choppiness, right? Just kind of back and forth choppiness. So I'm looking for this bullish move to continue. Absolutely does not have to. I think you'll probably find a lot of guys getting short up here, right? If this is going to start to play, I think we're going to come through this level of, you know, low volume pretty quickly, just looking at a volume profile. We should see an extension pretty quick. If we're going to come back down, this area right here to be tested, I think would be very, very clean. Again, didn't wait for that pullback later in the day because don't want to miss it. I waited for a long period of time, missed a lot of the movement. Maybe to this area would put me pretty close to VWAP, but I don't mind where it is right now, being at least a few points below VWAP and, you know, 40 points of risk. Can't go much wider than that. So we'll see how this one plays. Gonna let the market do what it's gonna do. Not gonna manage this one to the downside. Only gonna manage it to the upside. No take profit on this. I'd want to see what happens as if we started to approach this level. If we did continue to push to the upside, I would want to see what happens past the 5300s. You know, we start to get like really gnarly rejection. You know, maybe I would look to take it off if we don't just turn and stop me out. But I think a nice target could be way up here. Now, again, I am cautious of taking on too much risk and too much profit in these accounts because you have a consistency rule. It's important to talk about that as well. So, you know, unless you want to have to put up $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 in the account before you take a $3,000 or $10,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 payout, you know, you gotta be cautious of how much you put up on one day. But let's see, Wolf, yeah, even so, you should leave some for us poor people. I don't use fibs, but hit the fib level 0, only had to hit 1. Have a nice day, Raja. Took a stayed above 0 all day so far. Interesting. One of the international markets I keep an eye on. Okay, gotcha. Out at break even. Gotcha, Kim. Kim out at break even. Cool. Yeah, re-entry and break even. You know, different style of trading. Looking to protect capital on the front end and then jump back in. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Tick index. Yeah, I don't know what that one is either. So good question. Tick index measures the number of stocks trading on an uptick, higher price than previous trade versus downtick. Ah, there you go. Okay. Yeah, so it's kind of giving you. I was on Top Step TV with Anne Marie, and she was talking about something like that. Essentially, it might be the exact same thing. I'm not sure. Kind of like advanced decliners. Yeah. So it kind of works as like a cumulative volume delta, like the way that a volume delta would, the difference between buyers and sellers, for just the whole indice. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. This one's going to take a while to play out, guys. I'm going to hang with you for a bit longer, but, you know, you'll get my... Before I hop off, what I'll do, as I always do, if I'm either in a trade or not in a trade, we got 1030 opening up right here. One stat that's working in my favor here is the upside of the initial balance, which is 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. I don't mark it on my chart, but I'm always aware of it. I pay attention to it just because it's such a strong stat. The initial balance is the first hour, right, of NYSE session, 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. And here's what the statistics behind this say. This is just objective statistics, right? It's not my opinion or anything like that. Based on what side forms first and last, it does indicate the trend, right? The time that it's formed. We have a good indication of what side is more likely to break first. Now, that's pretty obvious, right? On a day like today, where we formed the bottom of the initial balance first, all the way down here, off of this candle right here, and the initial balance high right here last, it says most likely that this initial balance high is likely to break, right? It's a pretty strong stat. It's almost like 80%, 70 some odd percent. The stats continue that if we break one side of the initial balance, we typically do not break the other side, right? So if we come up here and break this initial balance high, we typically do not come down here and break this initial balance low, and vice versa. If we break out to the downside, we typically don't come back up and break the upside. Along with that, third stat, if we break one side of the initial balance, we typically extend by a decent amount. We typically don't just sweep it. Oftentimes, if we do just sweep it and come right back in, it's like a failed auction. You know, there's a thousand different narratives. I'm not going to try to pretend like I trade that way. I just watch market movements and do pattern recognition. But if we sweep it and come back in, it always doesn't play out so nicely for a continuation. But if we do break one side, we typically extend by a decent margin, decent amount. We typically don't just crack it and come right back in and break out to the other side. So again, a range with some strong stats behind it. Does take a while for that one to play out, but people love opening ranges. The orb has become really, really popular in the futures market. The 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute, and initial balance, which is the big one, right? So on a day like today, what does the first stat say? We're more likely to break the top. And then if you can, the high of the initial balance by a decent margin. Does that mean it happens all the time? Absolutely not. There's a whole bunch of days where it doesn't happen and we break the low first. If we break one side, regardless of that first stat, we typically do not come back and break the other side by a pretty strong statistic, which is in my favor on today. If we break the upside, we typically don't come back down and break the downside. If we break the upside, we typically extend by a decent amount before doing whatever else we're going to do for the end of the day. These stats are for the entire trading day, though, right? They're from 10:30 all the way to the whole trading session. So a lot can happen in between. The structure that forms before that, initial balance sets can be very different day to day. So is it something to take into consideration on its own and just trade off of that for breaks or breakouts? I don't think so. But it can be helpful to take a look at, right? It's an objective statistic, similar to other price action and, objective levels that I have on my chart that I take a look at. What happens a little bit more often than not, right? Does it happen every day? Absolutely not. But slightly more often than not can be dangerous. So initial balance, a lot of guys pay attention to that one. We'll see how it plays today, right? You could say, well, I want to just pay attention to it today on Tuesday, April 22nd. Not a big sample size, but we'll see, right? Here's your initial balance high, 5280s, coming right off of this candle high right here. Here's your initial balance low, right? The opening of the session, this 930 candle did come right down here, and that would be our low. We break one side, we typically don't come back and break the other. We break one side, we typically extend to the upside. And based on today, this one forming last typically breaks first. That's how the statistic goes. And most of these are pretty obvious, right? Like if we're going to break one side, that means we are extending past the first hour's candle, the first hour's range. Do we often come back all the way through that? No, right? If we form the high last, that means we trended to the upside. We pushed to the upside. Obviously, it's a little bit more likely that we continue in that direction rather than just reverse on a dime at that time frame and come through the bottom. So, some of these are kind of obvious, but it can be helpful. Let's do some mapping out on this, guys, because I can see this one's kind of going to dangle. Not getting a ton of momentum right off of this. Not a lot of liquidity, not a ton of volume. Nice strong cumulative volume delta, although it has decreased a little bit up here. It's common. We're just chopping, right? We're not continuing to push the upside. We come through this 5,300 level is the next area that I'm looking at. Here's my thought process on managing to the upside. If you're new here, I typically don't run a take profit. I like to see what's happening. This level I'm watching, right? I'm watching what happens here. We come back and forth like this. No, I'm just kidding. I'm watching what happens up here. I think this is an important level. You can see how it was tested multiple times. If I scroll out and look left, right here, I think this is going to be an important level to watch. Now, if I zoom out on the chart, as you can see, coming up past prior day's high all the way to this, high volume node, this ton of consolidation, and we had quite a bit of volume traded. And if I move back, it's a pretty important level. But down below that, we got some juice, right? We got, some highs that were tested up here multiple times. That could be reason for caution, right? So I'm trading towards that 5,300 level first to the upside. This way you guys have an idea of how I'm going to manage this. I'm going to watch what happens up here, right? We start to get a lot of orders on the book, big sell orders, stacking up on the DOM. Maybe we start to get a lot of volume traded right here and then some reversal or maybe a crack above. I'm going to be cautious coming into this 5,300. You know, I would like to hold through for some larger profit, but I don't have to, right? I don't have to make it worth it. Conversely, we start to come lower. I'm going to hang on to this one. I'm really, really against moving stop loss to break even or closing my trades out early for a loss these days. Why? My data shows me I'm way better off just taking the full stop out, because so many times I come back down into drawdown, we move into profit, I come to drawdown, and it continues moving. I stop myself out, I realize a partial loss, and it doesn't continue to rip my face off to the downside. So on a day like today, I'm probably going to realize this full loss. What would have to happen in order for me to cut the trade early for a loss or for break even? We trend really nicely. For some reason, I don't close, and then we form a lot of structure to the downside. I just wouldn't want to hold on a complete trend to the downside. From over here, we turn down, I'm out, no problem. That's just the nature of this. Again, we do something like this and I miss a close. I'm going to be hard pressed to want to hold it all the way back down here to try to hold it all the way back up. Right. That's probably the only way I'm out for a partial on this. We do something along these lines. Again, we rip my face off to the downside. I'm out, so be it. Losing trade, totally part of the game. I don't have an 80 or 90% win rate. I lose plenty of trades. That's cool. So we'll see if this can continue. That's my game plan. I don't really see a second trade because I think this is going to take a little while. If we ripped my face off to the downside, like here's where I would see a second trade. We rip my face off to the downside here and like really show a lot of selling momentum. Like this candle's going to flip bearish on the day and we're going to start just wildly selling off. I may look for a second trade to sell into that momentum, on some structure. If we came back down here and then showed wild bullish pressure, maybe I would take the trade in the same direction, but most likely not. Most likely not. I have the risk on that I'm comfortable with to make this one worth it. Wide stop. If I get invalidated down here, I'd need a lot more structure to form and then be headed all the way back north. So I don't see that one playing out, but it's possible. So that's the trade management on this, which I try to give you guys. Consolidation up here. Buyer's still trying to take it higher. I think a wick down here is likely. I'd like it not to come back down to VWAP and stop me out, but we'll see. A push off really aggressively towards the 5,300s would be pretty sweet. I'd like to get it, but that's my mapping out of this trade, right? Trade management, looking to potentially manage up around the 5,300s if we get there, if we start to approach it. To the downside, really not managing on anything quick outside of completely, trending to the upside, really starting to fail, and then continuing and seeing a lot of trend to the downside, a lot of structure. So here we go. Buyers taking it higher again. Another 15-minute bar pushing off. Really bullish structure right off the open. Again, not a clean and valid, not a super clean wick to take everybody out, but like that gentleman said earlier, just continuing to squeeze anybody that got short. Is tough. So I'll answer some questions, guys. I'll hang out with you, but here's my trade. It's on and running. Zach, what indicators are you using to the right side of the chart? I know it's volume, but what is the name of it on Project X? Yeah, we'll go through some chart stuff. If you guys have questions, I'm happy to. What inputs does it use? So this is visible range volume profile. I see someone answered. Thank you, Wolf. Yeah, thank you, Wolf. This is visible range. This one right here. Volume profile, visible range. I think it's visible range volume profile on another platform, but that's what this is. If you guys want to know what it is, as you see, I scroll in and out. It does exactly what it says. It gives you the volume profile for the visible range. This is the visible range of price action and market structure, right? If I scroll in or change time frames, you'll watch it adjust if Project X keeps up, right? We shouldn't have any volume really showing up here. There we go. Now it adjusted, right? Because we have nothing up here, nothing visible. My settings on this are a little bit custom. Yeah, on Project X, I do note volume kind of lags for some reason. If you scroll in and out, you confuse the thing and you got to let it reset like a madman. Settings for volume profile, visible range. I have the row size. I don't care that this is 200. It could be like 400, for example. It's just really granular. If you have it like really low, it does these big blocky movements, and I just don't find that necessary. So row size 200 or higher, 400, 500. I think it stops at a certain point, just gets like really crazy looking. Everything else is standard. I have it pushed over to the right-hand side a little bit, 25%. This way it doesn't cover all of the screen. I think it starts at like 30 or 40. I can't really remember. And then these are my colors. That's it. Pretty close to standard. Really the only massive difference is this row size input. If you want the exact colors, I'll do it here. You can scroll back and pause the screen. There you go. Colors and opacity. You get value area high, low, and the volume profile itself. And then point of control, I have as this color right here. Temporary volume point of control, which is this line showing you the area of highest volume relative to what you're showing. Often referred to as the temporary volume point of control. Hope that helps. But yeah, this is pretty sweet on Project X. Again, guys, I really didn't plug it at all this session. If you're still on hearing me, what's up? We got a bunch of people on. If you're still on here with me, this is Top 1 Futures. I'm actually copy trading 350K straight to funded accounts with Top 1 Futures. Straight to funded, no evaluation, trading towards a payout. I'm dropping the link in the chat. Code RDF gets you 50% off. Here we go. Let's do it. Code RDF gets you 50% off. Don't mind what it says there on the bottom. It runs till the end of this month. They extended it all the way until April 30th. 50% off makes the price of the accounts right here. $399 for the 150K account. Gives you $6,000 of max loss limit. There is a consistency rule. There is only 3 that you can copy trade. There's other rules that you do have to pay attention to. I encourage you to come to the site, check this stuff out from yourself. Link is in the chat. And you can hit frequently asked questions up here at the top. Just like all of the other prop firms, or most of the other prop firms, this is where you're going to find all of the detailed information, right? You want to learn more about payouts, the consistency rule, the path to live, whatever it is. This is where you're going to get the detailed information. Read through this. This is your responsibility. Make your own decisions. And remember, guys, I'm biased, right? I stand to make money. I'm an affiliate. I'm a partner. You can grain of salt or throw out everything that I say if you'd like to. But I'm more than happy to be transparent about that. I stand to make money from the code, from the link. Cannot be unbiased. That's important to note. Same with Bookmap. Read the affiliate and partnership disclaimer. But code RDF gets you that deal. You can buy up to 3 of them. If you want anytime payouts, those are add-ons. If you want no daily loss limit, which I don't know maybe why you would want that unless you're an advanced trader. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But, maybe you say, hey, Zach's at least honest there. Do I think the anytime payouts and the daily loss limit are really necessary for most guys? No. You're advanced. You're going to put on more risk. Yeah, maybe you want that. You're comfortable with that. What I would and will add on first is the anytime payout option. I just think that flexibility is great. But am I usually taking a payout every 5 days? I'd like to be, but honestly not. 14 days is usually enough for me. If I'm taking multiple payouts a month, I'm very happy. But that's totally up to the individual. That's an add-on. It's 15% of the price of the account. The no daily loss limit removes the loss limit. It was free up until yesterday. They ran a promo. But that removes the $3,750 loss limit. Now, for someone like me, am I going to add that on? Probably not. Why? I don't want to take on $6,000 worth of risk in one day, right? Because I don't feel the need to try to put up $6,000 worth of profit or anything close to that. There's a consistency rule and a maximum payout amount. So it really wouldn't make sense to run the account up on any one day. But that's why it's important for you to go through, read the rules, read the regulations, read everything that you need to read in order to make a good decision. So that's the thought process. I'm about to type, show us it. Yeah, man. This is what we're looking at, man. Top 1 futures, the good stuff. That's what we're looking at. John, appreciate it. Took a loss today while you were talking about the FOMO, and I'm suffering from that. I trade order flow instead of reacting. I'm trying to preview the market. Yeah, man. No, I feel you, dude. Right? And I banned a comment right off the bat. I saw someone said, shut up and buy it or whatever they want to do. And again, I kick anybody who's just going to troll. Stay patient, man. And how can you get past that? I think multiple things can help. And again, I'll probably hang out with you guys for a little bit longer. We'll watch this one play. I'm not going to have a lot of trade management. When I walk away, I'm going to set a take profit, but that's pretty much it. How can you get past that FOMO, right? One of usually 2 ways. you work hard at it, you build discipline, you back test, and you really study your data, or you're punished enough times and you lose enough money to become disgusted with yourself, and that initiates the change. So before the latter one happens, I would start with the first one. Number one, backtest your system, backtest and forward test with low risk on demo or in an account that you don't mind losing, until you're really comfortable and you really stop feeling so much FOMO that you trust your system. You know your setup's going to come, and you know your job is not to take every single move in the market and try to predict what the market's going to do next. It's just to put trades on as they come to you, as you see them fit, right? The second part of that is going to be journal your trades. Journal and review. Create some basic way to track your data. And like me talking about not getting involved too quickly off the open, why? I know not to do that because I have the data. I mean, I trade live all the time, so I can just go back and watch it in real time, which is sometimes fun to do. It's painful sometimes to do. Watch yourself make a dumb move. But create a feedback loop. And that feedback loop, just like any other profession or sport, is going to show you what you should be doing more of and what you should be doing less of. And it's really that simple. Along with all of that, I think what can really help, read the trading psychology books that everybody recommends. Trading the Zone by Mark Douglas, Best Loser Wins by Tom Hogard, The Mental Game of Trading by Jared Tendler, and 1,000 other ones. I'll send you it personally. Hop in the Discord. I'll post the book link. No problem. I won't send you the book personally. I'll send you my list. How do those help? They can give you a real understanding of the game of probabilities that we're playing here. It'll give you a real understanding that the market is very random on the short term and very consistent on the long term. And we're going to do the little psychology rant here, guys. It's important. When you trade for long enough, again, you're punished enough times and you recognize that, but you recognize the market on the short term is very unpredictable and random. And eventually, you stop trying to predict every market movement in the market because you don't need to, first off, and you can't. How do we make money? It's consistent on the long term. It's consistent over a large sample size. But I can't tell you with any degree of certainty what's going to happen next on this trade. And anybody that tells you or trades in a way that says they can is full of shit. Excuse my language. You can't. Nobody can. If you could, we'd remortgage our house and sell our cars and put it all in the next trade. We can't. That's why we structure risk. That's why we allow ourselves multiple losses per day, per week, right? Because we don't have to win every trade. So reading some psychology books and really reflecting on your job here in the market, it's not to win every trade. It's not. You're never going to. I don't know anybody with a 100% win rate. When you meet them, please hit me up. I don't know many people with a 80 plus or 90% win rate. So as you approach that 50, 60% or less with a lower, higher risk to reward, you're going to take a lot of losses. So you recognize that you don't have to know what's going to happen next in the market to make money. Rest in peace, Mark Douglas. That's the quote. And you also start to recognize another quote that I love and I have memorized. There's a random distribution of wins and losses for any given set of variables that define an edge. That's straight out of Mark Douglas. Random distribution. I don't know whether I'm going to take win, 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 loss, 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 win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. And once you start to get comfortable with this stuff, once you start to really recognize the game that you're playing here, what your job is in the market, you let go of some of that FOMO. You let go of some of trying to jump into every movement because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense logically. And again, if you don't do any of that work, the market will either clean you out and you'll be done trading. You'll be another statistic, right? Because most traders do stop after they lose enough money, or you'll get disgusted with yourself enough to actually start to make a change. That's kind of the hard truth there. Most guys don't do the hard work. They don't stay around long enough for either of those two things to happen, and they exit with the majority. The guys that make it here, the consistently profitable guys, I've been doing this for quite a while. I'm going on like 6th year, I think, in the markets trading. Not that many actually serious. Lost money for, many years first, really 2 to 3 years before I just started to grab onto consistency in live accounts, in crypto, and then in Forex, just straight losing money. And then came to futures and burned some cash on a bunch of Top Step evals, even at the beginning of last year. Was really just getting comfortable on different platforms, different markets, came in overconfident. But you stay around long enough and you start to understand the market. And if you do the hard work on the front end, which I did, it accelerates that learning curve, right? I can't tell you how many times I've listened to all 3 of those books and then a whole bunch of other ones, man. It really helps frame your mindset and gives you the understanding of the markets that you're working with. But where was I going with that thought? What separates the consistently profitable guys, and again, this is the Mark Douglas, Tom Hogard, Jared Tendler, Steve Ward mindset here, and thought process. It's not their trading system, it's not their strategy, it's not that they have some massive edge in the market. If any of that was true, you'd be able to do it from day one. What separates them is the way that they think about trading. The confidence that they have to take wins and losses and watch a trade come all the way back like this one is coming back on me and not freak out or mismanage things, to allow probabilities to play out in their favor. That's what separates the winners or losers. Again, it's my opinion. You might say, no, Zach, you do have to have an edge in the market. You have to have experience. All the mindset and psychology is not going to save you from or give you a shortcut for any of that. But when it comes down to what I think really separates the consistent winners from the consistent losers, it's the way they think about trading. It is mindset, it is psychology, it's experience, it's confidence in your system, in your approach, and understanding of the markets, and emotional regulation. Being able to control your emotions to a degree, but I don't even like that word so much. Be able to create new responses to your emotions, right? We're human. We're going to feel fear. We're going to feel greed, right? You have to create new responses to them and do the right thing. Discipline, that's a huge piece of this. So that's my long psychology rant, man. I'll finish with this before I read some of the chat. And this is tough, right? And it's not to like pat myself on the back. If you don't have discipline in any other areas of your life, you're sure as hell not going to have it when money's on the line. And I don't mean to be harsh about that, but if you do not have discipline in every other area of your life where it's easier, you're not going to have it here on the charts when it's very hard to exercise. And a big part of what I do outside of trading is based around building discipline. I do endurance sports. I do a ton of different hobbies and activities, but I run marathons and ultra marathons and do really difficult discipline building things. And I do smaller stuff, right? Like making sure you're waking up and doing your journaling or maybe meditating to create discipline and exercise that muscle. So when it comes time to not close this trade out right now, as it's showing me $330, and I can just high five you guys and say, we made $1,000 together, that I can do that, right? So as hard as that is for some people to hear, I don't know anybody that is undisciplined in all of the other areas of their life and they come to trading and they're disciplined. It's, in my humble opinion, the hardest thing to do. The psychology of managing risk and financial loss in the markets is extremely difficult. You got to have discipline everywhere else. So build that, whatever that means for you, going on a walk, waking up at a certain time, doing something hard, not doing something that you shouldn't be doing, all that stuff, man. So that's the mindset talk for today. All that stuff matters. Again, I will grain of salt it with, none of that's going to save you from not having an edge in the market built through experience, through discretion, through tools, indicators, order flow, volume, whatever you want to use. You have to have some way to quantify your trading. You have to build experience. You can't come to the charts a disciplined person and just, kill it. So all of that is there. But on the back end of that is the mindset. There's tons. You're watching me trade something that I would consider works pretty well for me, right? There's a lot of guys on here doing that. There's better traders than me all over the place showing you how and what they do for free, right? That's the truth. Why isn't everybody making money trading? It's not because they can't do what the other guys are doing as far as understanding it and clicking the button. It's the way that they're thinking about it. It's the psychology behind it. It's the mismanagement of the trades. It's the inability to execute, confidence, fear, greed, all of these things. So hope that helps, man. That was a long rant, but it's good conversation. I like to have that one every once in a while. And it's what I struggled with for the longest period of time, really. Strategy hopping, lack of confidence, not being able to think about trading the way that I really need to think about trading. What do you think will be the price for straight to funded once top one futures after the 50% promo? I don't know, brother. I don't know. 50% promo ends the end of this month. I don't know what it's going to be. Don't have insider info on that one. I'd assume it's still going to be like something good, but I just don't want to like, I'm just speculating. I think it's still going to be pretty good. I don't think it's going to be like, 10% or something, but I really don't know. I have no idea. It's probably not going to be 50%. Once you go live, is the consistency rule gone? Yes. I have a video dropping on the path to live probably next week. I got a couple things dropping ahead of time, back testing some stuff. I just dropped one on all of the rules and information, but I have one specifically on the path to live. But in the meantime, if you want to find out about that, where you can do it, right here, right now. Frequently asked questions, right? Live. Boom. Path to trading live capital. This is the page that I sit on in the video, so you don't have to wait. Read through this in detail. Understand it. And if you have questions, ask me in Discord. I run a 100% free Discord, which I haven't said at all this live. I'll drop it right now for you guys. More than happy to have you in there. Happy to answer questions. I stand to make money. I'm partnered with Top 1 Futures. I'm more than happy to help anybody out that's considering using my code and support my boy. But do what's best for you, right? No pressure ever. Do what's best for you. Make the best decisions for yourself as a trader. It's going to be different for me. Reached my personal daily profit target. Locked myself out. 220. Ralph, killing it, bro. Round of applause for Ralph. Love the risk management. I protect myself against me. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Set the risk parameters, guys. On Project X, set the risk parameters. Set the max loss limit. Set the personal daily profit target. Do that stuff. No reason not to. As we're watching this market climb, I know I'm not talking about the trade. Up to 500. We're approaching that 5,300 level. I'm getting tempted to take this one around that 5,300. Bookmap still looks good to the upside. I've really talked, through the whole trade. I wasn't planning on hanging out all the way through this with you guys, but I'm looking at taking this one around the 5,300 level if we start to approach it. We got a lot of liquidity up there. I do think we can easily run towards this level, but here's something we have to deal with these accounts, right? We have a consistency rule, right? A 20% consistency rule that says no single day of profit can be larger than 20% of our balance when we go to withdraw. So for example, if you put up $2,000 in one day, which I wouldn't even do up here, but if you put up $2,000 in one day, now you're setting the bar for yourself to be $10,000 before you can take any withdrawal, right? If you keep it small profit consistently, you're able to withdraw at a lower profit. Now, you probably don't want to withdraw $3,000 as soon as you hit that because you're going to put the account at risk. But maybe you don't want to have to trade towards $7,000 before you can take out $3,000, right? Maybe your goal is to get to $5,000 and take out $3,000. You can't put up more than $1,000 worth of risk on any one day, right? So it is important to recognize that. It's something unique with the straight to funded accounts, typically that have it. Many other accounts, firms have it. But it's something to pay attention to. You can't catch a banger, right? I couldn't let I could, but I wouldn't let this thing run because it's not going to help me in the long run because I don't want to put up, I don't want to have to put up $10,000 or $20,000 before I take a payout, So, but that's up to the individual as well. But for me, I don't think I put up a day of higher profit than like 600 in these accounts, which allows me a lot of flexibility when it comes to taking a payout. So I kind of want to keep it that way. 5,300, again, a lot of liquidity up here. Next level, cracking through right up to this area. I'd like to see it grab that. It would be not even a full 1-to-1. I do think we pushed so high on this. We are approaching prior day high. I think it's pretty common that we come up here and grab this, but I don't have to hold on to this for forever with you guys. And it will just allow me to get on with my day. Be able to take profit and get on with my day. Now, this thing pulls all the way back on me. It's going to be frustrating, but I'm holding out for my take profit. At very least, again, I'm halfway to a 1-to-1, right? So it's not a super sustainable move, but I've talked a lot about risk to reward as well. You can watch my videos on risk to reward, on negative risk to reward. I'm not always intending to run any kind of specific risk to reward, right? I don't run a profit target. But what I've talked a lot about in these markets, see profit, take profit, right? Go ahead, get in, get out, get paid. Don't hold out for the moon. You can run a wider trade like this, but holding out for the moon in these markets exposes you to those rapid, insane I'm actually going to throw a take profit up here. Those rapid, insane, you know, types of movements that we can get. So, yeah, I may actually grab this one, guys. I'm watching Bookmap. We do have it up near 53. I think we pull back a little bit on this before we go grab it. I'd also like to just be out at 11 o'clock and done with my day. Yeah, I'm watching Bookmap on this one, guys. I'm a little bit cautious here. I got a limit sell in to close out right above current price. There we go. I'm out on that one, guys. I'm taking it right there. I still think we're going to 5,300, but I'd like to wrap the live session up with you guys and just get on with my day. Again, looking at the consistency rule and kind of, you know, where I'd like to be with it, I haven't put up a huge day on this account. I really don't need to. I'm approaching, you know, where I'd like to be to start to consider a payout. So I'm going to take it right there and just be on with my day. The second part of it is just a time frame. If I step away, you know, so again, decent trade, right? Grab 528 bucks, low risk to reward, right? Had almost $1,000 worth of risk to just grab 528, fully recognized on the front end. My data tells me to do that. My data tells me around a certain area. And also if I'm just looking for a little bit more out of the market, to leave a take profit on and walk away from the chart, which I'm going to do after I hop off of this 2-hour live with you guys. I probably don't want to do that, right? I just probably don't need to squeeze it for that much. Gun to my head, I think we're hitting 5,300, and I think we're coming all the way up to the 330s. And this could easily be a $1,200 day. I don't really even want to, I don't know that I want to go over that like 12 to 15 level, because then again, you're having to put up a lot of profit before you take a payout. So I've been really happy snagging my small, consistent $300, $400, $500 days, stacking up profit. It's going to allow me to take a payout whenever I want. So anyway, that's the thought process. But in and out of that one, profit. This is across 3 accounts as well. I'm copy trading 3 every day here, or I have been with you guys. The power of copy trading is that's a $1,600 day. Hung out with you guys, stayed patient, took profit early at the area that I saw fit. Again, my data shows in these markets around the area before a profit target, you know, your area, whatever you're comfortable with, especially if I'm going to hop off the charts afterwards, you know, take profit, right? But that's up to you, right? That's up to you. Thanks for sharing, Zach. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about with the chat. I think I have to rewind the part where you're talking about not using a set amount of contracts, but first account and use your code. I appreciate you, man. Still checking out the platform. Great explanation. Absolutely. $600 my daily profit target on these. Yeah, right. Again, so simple math, right? So how the consistency rule works, guys, just to break this down, because everybody asks me. 20% consistency means no single day of profit can be more than 20% of your balance, of your profit, when you go to take a payout. So simple math would say, when do you want to take a payout? You want to get to 5,000? You want to get to 4,000, 3,000? Those are your payout numbers, right? Divide that by 5. You can't go over that amount, right? So let's say, for example, you are someone that wants to take a payout, because I'm right there, that wants to take a payout at $3,000. 3,000 divided by 5, simple math, $600. If you put up a $1,000 day, you have to trade to $5,000 before you could take a payout. If you put up, let's say, for example, a $1,500 day, right? That's not crazy to do with $6,000 worth of loss limit. You got to hit 7,500 or else you won't meet the consistency rule, okay? The max payout, the minimum payout is 3,000 on these accounts specifically. The max payout is 5,000. So you got to ask yourself on the front end, you should pre-plan, when do I want to take a payout? When, you know, around what level? Do the math before you start trading. Set a personal daily profit target. If it's 3,000, don't go over 600. If it's 5,000, don't go over 1,000, right? If you want to put 10,000, which is totally normal because you want to have $5,000 of working capital and you want to pull out 5,000, don't go over 2,000. But if you catch a banger trade, you set yourself up in a really bad spot, right? Again, that's a trade-off with straight to funded. You don't have that with other firms, some other firms like Top Step. You do have it with Tradeify and other straight-to-funded firms. But there is a trade-off there, and it's something that you have to be aware of, right? These are prop firms. It's not regular live trading with unlimited flexibility. We're looking at specifics in these accounts. Play the game, understand the rules, and, work within them. That's how guys get paid out quickly. They understand this stuff on the front end. They plan for it. They structure their trades that way, right? So understand that. Nice trade, Zach. I appreciate you. Thanks for sharing. Was watching the part in the course. Trailing drawdown, not a concern here. No, there's no intraday trailing drawdown. No intraday trailing drawdown. End of day trailing drawdown, which is awesome, which is why I can trade that way, right? You can't trade that way on other accounts with intraday trailing drawdown. I like to trade wide sometimes like that. Intraday trailing drawdown, not going to work. Not going to work. That comes back down on me, the account's blown. End of day with top 1 futures, it's awesome. It can go up, it can go down. I can let the thing breathe. And I think intraday trailing drawdown is one of the most difficult and not beneficial to the trader rules there are. I'd never be able to make it work. I'll probably try one day, right? I'll probably get in on that. But I don't think I would do well with it at all. I don't think many traders will. It's extremely hard to do. You're trading breakouts, really scalping only. You have to trail stops aggressively. So it's difficult. But yeah, we're talking about top 1 futures, guys. Here it is again. 50% off, code RDF. That's what I'm trading right here, right now with you guys. 3 straight to fundeds. I'll throw the link in the chat as I continue to answer questions here with you guys. Hang out after we took a trade. Done for the day. Again, could have let it run a little bit longer, grabbed a little bit more out of it, but I'm cool on that, man. Again, I rely on my data. It shows me don't touch it when you're in don't touch it when you're at in drawdown. Feel free to take your profit early. I have much more that I close out at break even or for a loss that continue in my direction, and I have much less that I close out for a win that continue in my direction much further to where I would like to hold on to them for much longer. Your data is going to show you that, right? Maybe your data says, no, go stop loss to break even. We come back to break even on your data. More often than not, we're coming through stop loss. Or maybe your data shows, hey, man, you're closing out trades way too early. Every trade you close continues in your direction by another 50 points. Stop closing so early. Data shows you that, it doesn't lie. So it's easy. Not easy, but simple. Simple, not easy. I do 500 to 700 on the top one. Yeah, man. Again, it makes sense to you, and that can be difficult, right? Especially if you're a home run hitter. But we're talking consistency rules here, guys, for the top 1 futures accounts. You got to have a profit target in mind. If you don't, and you put up a huge day, you're now going to have to put up a lot of profit and continue to put up those big days. So it is tough, right? Because the market doesn't always move that way. And for certain traders that are home run hitters or real low risk to reward real low win rate, real high risk to reward traders, it might be tough, right? Maybe it's not a good answer for you at all. That's up for you to decide, but you have to work within it and make it make sense, or you should be working within it and making it make sense. You have a payout cap per payout. Doesn't make sense to run it up into an insane amount where you have to put a huge amount in. Amazing trade. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, nothing crazy. Simple, right? Market structure, price action, trending to the upside, stayed very patient. I'm only looking at the 15 now, but this was clean on the 1 minute as well. Ran it really wide, wanted to allow for a test of this level. Figured if we were going to continue out of this area of high volume, we're going to approach the 5300s where we have liquidity. I'd be shocked if we didn't tag it right now, since we continue towards that direction with another bullish 15-minute bar. I think we're headed up here. Why? Big area of high volume, just above prior highs, broken in a downtrend, area that was tested multiple times before this big sell-off. Simple. Market structure, price action, volume. A little bit of order flow on the side. Yeah, still have not a ton at 5,300 either, but we still have it. I think we're tagging 5,300 and potentially that. I don't know that we're gonna go all the way to like prior week's value area low, but potentially the 320s. That's what I would see. So yeah, simple as that. I'm gonna tell you guys, we got giveaways coming tomorrow. I'm not running one today. I don't want to keep you guys waiting the entire time. And I told you on the front end that I'm not going to tell you what day they're on, but since you guys waited all this time, you hung out with me for this session. Hopefully you took something away from the nice trade that we made, $1,600 across 3 top 1 futures accounts, making money that we stand to withdraw from day one. Got a giveaway coming tomorrow. If you hop on, there will be a giveaway. Not going to tell you exactly what time. Formal drop, just like I did on Monday, and we will... Oh, I'm sorry. Last thing also. Jerome, the dude that won yesterday, or Jermaine, if you're on here, hit me up, man. Your email is not working. I tried to hit you up on email multiple times. It kicked back. You're not in my Discord. So Jermaine, if you're on here, if you're listening, hopefully you are. I'm trying to give you cash. So tell me where you're at. Hit me up, email me, hit me up here, hit me up somewhere. Socials, anywhere. Hit me up. Your email didn't work. So I have to give it to somebody else, but I'm going to give you a little bit of time. Hit me up, man. Use the Discord, but I don't see anything, anytime payouts. Yeah, you can hit top 1. It's applied automatically. There we go, trading out the 5300s, guys, right there. Simple. We'll see what happens up here. I'd be cautious if you were long through this level. You got prior day high right above it. That's a clean level to target as well, but I'd be cautious right up at this 5300. You can hit their support, Ralph. I don't think that's a problem. It will be applied. They did make a note when they posted it the first time that you're not supposed to add it to your account. It's not going to show up free or anything like that. It's just going to be applied after the fact. So, but on that note, guys, giveaway tomorrow. Jermaine, if you're on here, hit me up. Jay, or Jerome, however I'm saying your name wrong. Appreciate you. We got another win. No trade yesterday. Keeping the winning streak going. We'll see what we can do. We will take losses. Plenty of losses. If you trade with me on here, you come and hang out. You'll watch me take losses, often back-to-back losses. But not today. Got a nice win. Simple. No massively high risk to reward. Gave the trade room to breathe. Took profit nice and early where I felt we might find some resistance. Feel free to watch after the fact. Pull hindsight capital. 5,300 we're trading right now. I'm cautious around this level. If we continue to the upside, I'm definitely cautious right around that temporary volume point of control. 53.20s to 30s. But I think at some point we could see somewhat of a pullback. I'm out, able to get on with my day, hop on some meetings, work on some other stuff, cook up some videos for you guys, and not be putting up some crazy number that I'm going to have to really outweigh before I can take a payout. This is on the low end. I don't mind getting up, past where I'm going to have to put up 5,000 in the account. But happy with this. More than happy. Take what the market gives you. Be happy with it. Move on with your day. Remember, guys, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. I'm just an idiot here on YouTube yapping about trading. Nothing's a suggestion or recommendation to do anything. Trading's risky. Almost everybody that trade loses money. If you trade, you're probably going to lose all of your money. I mean that seriously. Almost nobody makes it. Do your own research. Make your own trading decisions. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop accounts. We're still in the sim environment here. Important to read that rule. And the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says, I stand to make money from links and codes like Top 1 Futures that I'm partnered and affiliated with, like code RDF. Important to be transparent about that. I can't be unbiased with anything that I talk about if I stand to make money from it, right? Just like anybody else that works for any company. I can't be unbiased with any of these. Stand to make money from, multiple firms. Not Top Step, but I've been on Top Step TV, plenty of times, so I would be biased there as well. Anyway, guys, appreciate you hopping on. This was a long one, almost 2 hours. Took the win. Happy to keep the win streak going. Pretty sweet. All wins last week. No trade sessions in between, but preserving capital. Sue me, man. Talk to you guys soon. I'll see you tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. The rest of the week. Giveaway tomorrow. Giving you guys the early heads up. I'm not going to post it. Not going to say anything in Discord. We will have a giveaway tomorrow. Maybe it's a straight to funded account. Maybe it's some cash. Hopefully you use an email that actually works, Jermaine or Jay, so I can actually send it to you. But anyway, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for hopping on. I appreciate you. Smash like, smash subscribe. If you're new and you can't chat and you want to chat for next time, hit subscribe. I keep 2 hours subscriber mode on, try to limit the trolls. More than happy to have you guys trading with me live here every day. I'll end on this one. I don't claim to be the best trader. I don't claim to know it all. I don't claim to have all of the magic answers or some strategy that works. I don't have all the big payouts. I'm not on the leaderboard. I make mistakes. I'm just a regular idiot. All right, guys? I don't care to tell you any of that or that I'm great because you could just watch it play out here and decide for yourself. That's the beauty of live trading. I could show you a million different things. None of it means anything. With ChatGPT, I mean, soon enough, you might not know that this is me. But right here, right now, I hope you know that this is me in an account. You watch it play out. You can time it on your market. Watch what's going on here. This is all that matters. So Judge me harshly here. Decide for yourself. And recognize that I'm just a regular dude. More than happy to have you on here. Hopefully you find some value in the information or watching me take wins or losses or whatever it is with me here in the live sessions, in the free Discord. More than happy to have you guys here. I appreciate everybody that hops on. We got a bunch of people here again today, man. I appreciate you guys. Really do. Thank you. I'm grateful for all of you guys. Have an awesome day. I'll see you here live tomorrow. I'll see you in Discord. If you have any questions, hit me up in Discord. Hit me up on socials. I'll try to help you out the best I can. Talk to you guys soon. Trade well the rest of this day.